Hey, welcome everybody. I think I see Karen there coming. I've got a leaf here. So welcome. I think I see Karen coming, so I'll go ahead and start talking now and she can settle in. Everybody's got a block and a blanket and their mat. We are, I'm Terry. I think everybody knows me. I'm Terry from Authentic Living Yoga. Welcome to Yoga on the River. This is a free class. However, if you would like to donate, there's a jar here. 100% of the money goes to Friends of Portsmouth. And this will actually be the last day before Scioto Gives. I'm going to donate all the money from September and these classes in October. I already gave them a check for August for all the donations you gave. But I've been saving September to add these October classes to do it on Scioto Gives Day because they do matching funds. So you're really big bang for your buck there. And I'm really, we already have for September and October, we already have over $350 that you guys have graciously donated. So whatever else we add to it, I'm going to round it up to at least 500 and we'll donate it and get some matching. So thank you all for doing that. We are going to do a class. You can start seated. We're going to do a Yin Vin class. So how many of you have taken a Yin class before? Okay. How many of you have taken a restorative class before? How many of you think they're the same class? Okay. All right. Most people do. That's not uncommon. If any of you watched my tape this week, I recorded a Facebook Live and saved it, a restorative class at the wall. In a restorative class, we hold poses for 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. They're long holds. We use lots of props. We try to support the body, and you're actually trying not to have sensation in them. What you're trying to do is get the body to open. You're trying to get the nervous system to kind of step down and go into that sympathetic nervous system, that parasympathetic nervous system rather, and fully relax and allow your body to get in a condition where it can do some healing at a cellular level. So the point there is to hold them without sensation. Yin is opposite of that. People often confuse them because you have long holds and you often use a lot of props, and it's the same thing. They have completely different purposes. A Yin class, we will hold the poses for 2 to 3 minutes per pose. And what we're trying to do there is for that 2 to 3 minutes is get that fascia, which is basically that shrink wrap that's under your skin that covers your entire body. And it gets tight as we get older, or we get less range of motion, and we lose mobility. If we don't exercise a lot, it'll get tight and get dry. And in order to loosen that fascia, when we're in those Yin poses, that fascia starts to open. And when it opens, we use compression in Yin poses to actually starve the joint systems, those deep ligaments and around the joints and the bones. We starve them from blood and fluid, nutrients, during compression. And then when we release the pose, it gets flooded with nutrition, with fluid, and it helps repair and make those ligaments and joints much stronger. So you actually want to feel sensation in a Yin class as opposed to a restorative class. You, of course, never want to feel pain in any posture, but you're actually wanting, you may feel a deep sensation as those ligaments and joints start to open, but it should not feel like pain. So if it becomes pain, it's a sharp pain, it's pinpointed, then come out of a posture. If it's too uncomfortable to sit within sensation, you're not breathing through it, then again, adjust and come out. But the point is to try to actually stress those joints and those ligaments. Now the ligaments don't really stretch much. They only have about 7% stretch. So we want to be gentle. We're not trying to really, do a lot of stretching. So we're going to do the first half of the class Yin with those holds, and then we'll do a little stretching and do a little bit of vinyasa, a little bit of slow flow, some sun salutations before we come back down for Shavasana. So you just need your blanket, your block. And we're going to start with the child's pose. So make sure everybody has their blanket. And we're going to come into a child's pose position. And you can use wide leg with the toes together, or you can use your legs closer together, and that'll support your low back by allowing your torso to rest on your thighs. But you may want to grab your blanket and put it under your knees, because we're going to hold this posture for about 3 minutes. You might want your block to bring in front of you. Take your block and set it in front of you so that you can allow your head to rest. So let's bring your knees either together or wide, toes together. Take a big inhale, maybe put your hands on your block. Take a breath, find some extension in that spine. Inhale, and then exhale, let's press our hips back towards our heels, bending our elbows to release tension in the neck and shoulders, and allow our head to rest on our block. And maybe I'm going to come in and out of the postures. I'm going to cue you into them, and then I'm going to come out so I can talk to you. Maybe close the eyes. Begin to find some relaxation in the pose and connect to that breath. Begin to breathe with intention, deepening and slowing your breath. As you settle into stillness, notice where your mind goes. When it leaves this moment and it leaves this spot, notice and return your attention to your breath. Taking a big inhale in, fill up those lungs, and then the exhale, see if your hips will soften a little closer to your heels. If they're not, your hips are not touching your heels or that's uncomfortable, you can actually put a block or blanket between your thighs and your shins too. But make whatever last minute adjustments that you need to make so that you can hold this pose for about 3 minutes. And then find some stillness after you make those adjustments. And continue with the breath. If you're in the posture for a while and you feel like your body is softening, you can of course put your forehead on the mat. But knowing that you need to be in a position that you can maintain. Maybe you begin to notice some sensation somewhere in your outer hips or your thighs. Can you imagine as the deeper you breathe, the more breath you're bringing to that area? Imagine when you exhale that the body softens just a little bit more. Begin to imagine that your breath is actually orbiting, bringing energy through the body. As you inhale through the nose, imagine the breath coming from the tailbone all the way to the base of the neck. And on the exhales, imagine it orbiting back from the neck all the way down the spine to the tailbone. Continuing that loop with that breath, that orbiting. Scan the body and notice if there's somewhere you're holding on. Maybe in your forehead or your jaw. Can you release the jaw? Can you soften your shoulders a little bit more? Can you find some ease in the fingers and the toes? Can you let go? And allow your body to heal, to be stronger. We're going to be here for about 1 more minute in silence. Anytime we rest in a quiet space, there's an opportunity to come back to that same intentional breath you found at the start of your practice. Begin to intentionally deepen that breath. Open the mouth and exhale fully. Lifting your head up off of your block or your mat. Slowly walking your hands, fingers wide, underneath your shoulders. And gently pressing through the ground to lift your torso up. Bringing your body up to a tabletop position. Knees under hips, elbows and wrists under shoulders with fingers nice and wide. A light grip in the fingertip to engage those bandhas in the hands, lifting up the palms. Pull the belly button to the spine and extend the spine long. Inhale, bring the chest and the heart forward, dropping the belly, finding cow. Exhale, drop the chin, round the upper back, and press up into a cat stretch. Let's continue that cat-cow for a few more rounds, just following your breath. Bringing some movement into the spine. Maybe close those eyes and notice if you feel a rebound effect in your hips from where we held child's pose for an extended time. It might feel like a wave, a flood, a warmth, where that blood and fluids, nutrition is flowing back into those joints in the hips. When you're ready, come back to that flat back. You may want to turn sideways on your mat. Bring your block with you so that your knees still on your towel. Putting your hand on your block. I'm going to take my right leg out to the side. This is why I wanted you to move sideways so you wouldn't have your foot on the ground. Left knee is still bent on your mat. Right leg's out to the top, the inner edge of your foot. Take a breath and find some extension in that spine with your hands on your block. Untuck those toes from the back, the bottom foot, and carefully press yourself down into a one-legged child's pose. Bringing your block, maybe so your head can rest on your block. Your arms can be wherever they are comfortable. Again, making whatever last-minute adjustments you need to make. And we'll sit in this for 2 minutes. Get all the wiggles out. Make sure find some comfort and ease as we work on compressing the hips, the joints, and those hip flexors. Inside of the groin and thigh. Maybe rolling the forehead on your block a little bit. Just release any tension in the forehead. Again, checking in, knowing sensation is good in a yin pose, but pain is not. If it is painful, come to a seated position, come out of the pose. Never stay with pain. But knowing that sensation can be good. Breathe through the sensation. Bring some softness to the shoulders. Make sure they're not hunched up towards your ears. Remember, as you inhale, you fill up the body. As you exhale, you soften and sink. About 30 more seconds on this side. Just to see if there's anywhere else you can let go a little bit more. Take a breath in. Place your hands under your shoulders. Carefully pressing through the ground to lift the torso up. Bringing the right knee back to meet the left. Just twist the body just a little bit. Just add some new natural movement here. And then find stillness and notice, close the eyes for just a second and see if you feel a difference from your right to your left hip. Maybe it's a tingling or a wave or a warmth. Then take a big inhale and let's stretch the left leg out, up on the inside edge. Put in our block at wherever location works for you, and then exhale, push our hips back to find our one-leg child pose on this side. Soften and round and bring your head to rest on your block at whatever level works for you. They have 3 different levels. Find a place for your arms. And rest into the pose. Maybe you can untuck those back toes so that you're not trying to engage the calves. We'll do 2 minutes on this side. May feel a lot different than the other, and that's okay. Maybe this is the side you need more. Remembering if your mind begins to wander away, bring it back to that intentional breath. That prana, that energy force in our body. Listening to your body, noticing that anytime it becomes painful or too intense, then back away. Bring your leg back in. Come to a child's pose. But otherwise, we have 1 more minute here, about 55 seconds. When you soften 10% more, can you find somewhere else to soften and release? Start to deepen that breath, feeling it expand your lungs, and the low back, the belly. When you're ready, place your hands underneath your shoulders and gently roll yourself up, bending the knee back to your blanket, moving your block out of the way, off to the side. You might want to leave your blanket there as you twist around to tabletop. Plant your hands, tuck your toes, and press back up into downward facing dog. Heels moving towards the mat, gaze to belly button. Pressing the mat away with your hands. Notice what your legs feel like now. Take a few deep breaths here. On your next inhale, let's lift the right leg up and behind us, coming into 3-legged dog. Bending the knee and opening up the hip. Pressing through the heel in the left foot. Inhale, come up on the toes of the left foot, and exhale, bring your right foot to the front outside edge of your mat on the outside of your hands here. So both hands are inside. Adjust your blanket if you need to, so you can drop the back knee, untuck the toes. You might want to bring your block in front of you. And then walk your hands forward, finding dragon. You can bring your hands to your block if you want more height, or you can come down on your elbows if you want more depth. But remembering to not go to your edge, because we're going to maintain this posture for a couple minutes. About 2.5 minutes on this side. So make sure you're in a place that's maintainable, that you can keep that breath, your breath isn't shallow, that you can sit with the sensation. Knowing also that sometimes when we open the hips, we also open a gateway to emotions and feelings. So if any of that comes up, just know that that's normal. We hold a lot of tension in our hips. And sometimes when we open that and release that, it also releases an emotional response. I like to imagine when I'm doing this that I'm a strong dragon. About 20 more seconds on this side. Try to release the jaw. Soften wherever you can soften. When you're ready, if you're on your forearms, carefully press yourself up to your hands. Finding some extension in the pose first, pulling the crown forward. Exhale, begin to walk your right leg back. As you walk your hands back to your hip, coming up on the heel, the toes to the sky, finding half split here. Hopefully your knee is still padded. Drink a breath and then soften over the extended leg, rounding. Connect to that breath. This counter pose here. We'll only hold this one for about 2 minutes. Try to find some ease in those shoulders, widen the collarbones. Make sure you're not holding your breath. An inhale and press your sole of the foot into the ground, bending your knee. Bring that knee back to the mat, finding tabletop, and press yourself up into down dog. Heels moving to the mat, gaze moving behind you. Connect to the breath. Couple deep breaths here. Next inhale, let's reach the left leg up, three-legged dog, and then bend the knee to open the hip. Coming up on the toes on the right foot. Inhale, exhale, bring the left foot up, finding our dragon here, dropping our back knee, untucking those toes, sliding off that kneecap, making whatever adjustments you need to make, and then bringing yourself forward onto the forearms or the hands using your block. And then soften down into the dragon. Make adjustments that you need to adjust before you find stillness. Sometimes it's easier to connect into those sensations when your eyes are closed. If that's not comfortable for you, just have a soft gaze, a drishti gaze they call it in yoga. Notice the temperature of your skin. One more minute. You notice the sensations you're feeling. Imagine that fascia opening. Imagine the joint system that we're beginning to strengthen. Knowing that you're doing good for your body, even though it may not feel like it in the moment. Sometimes when the sensation takes your mind elsewhere, if you imagine that orbiting breath, it makes it a little easier to sit with the sensation. Take a few more deep breaths here. Make them big. Make the exhales just as long as the inhales. When you're ready, carefully walking your hands back to your hips as you straighten the left leg, toes coming towards the sky, finding half split, finding extension in the spine, and then rounding to bring our head closer to our left leg. Noticing the difference in side to side. I'll have to tell you, this is definitely my tighter side, significantly tighter. Maybe you'll notice which one is a little more difficult for you. We have 60 more seconds left. Is there anywhere else you can soften? Try not to put too much pressure into your hands. Make sure you've got those fingers lifted a little bit and spread nice and wide, so you're protecting those wrists. Feel your collarbones widen as your shoulders soften. Open the mouth, release the jaw, and then allow it to close gently. And when you're ready, bringing your left knee back to tabletop position, going slow and careful. Then I want you to just spin around on your seat here. I want you to take your blanket, and mine's kind of thin, but take your blanket to where you can kind of make a roll, like a cinnamon roll. You want it like a roll, like this. Yours is going to be thicker than mine, probably. You want a longer roll. So you might have to fold yours the other way first, or unfold it. Yeah, unfold it and make a square like your neighbor's got, and then roll it. That way you'll get a nice roll there. You want it kind of thick. Yeah, that's good. So then place your roll on your mat, the top of your mat, lengthwise here, right in the middle of your mat. Oh, you want this? You want to use this, or is this too big for you?
Oh, I'll try it.
You can try it. If it's too big, roll it out of the way.
Oh, sorry.
You got it? Yep. All right. So there's a couple things we do from being on computers all day. We get what was called tech neck. Tech neck is when we are all losing that natural curvature in our cervical spine, because they call that tech neck. So we're going to do a pose after this one for tech neck. But you also, a lot of people get carpal tunnel or even tendonitis, tennis elbow from that repetitive movement all day. So when we were working on yin poses for compression, remember we're starving those joint systems, and then we're going to flood them with nutrients. We're going to do a pose that's going to do that for your wrists and your elbows here. So find your way to your back is leaning up against your little cinnamon roll. Your legs long in front of you, and finding that staff pose. I always tell you to grab that flesh, and you can hear me if you want. I mean, you don't have to turn around. Find that staff pose here. And then we're going to slowly bring ourselves to pour over our little roll, our cinnamon roll here. So lay down on our cinnamon roll. palms facing up. Rest your head on your cinnamon roll if it reaches. If it doesn't, you might want to put a block under your head. Or you can let it hang down for that curvature if it doesn't bother your neck. So you've got a block if you want to use it. Now with your palms up, take your right palm and turn it into your body so the palm is down. Lift your body up and slide that underneath your body, and then lay your weight back on that arm. Lift the left side of your body and slide that arm under, palms down. So you may have to scoot around a little bit to get those arms underneath you. Rest your head and then let the body weight sink into your arm and wrists here. As we're stressing and releasing those joints in that wrist and in the elbows here. We're starving them from nutrition, from fluids. And when we come out of the pose, we're going to flood those areas with nutrition, with blood flow, to rehydrate those areas there. So close your eyes or find your soft gaze. We're also giving a little bit of support to the back in this pose. Take a couple breaths here. And then slowly tilt your body so you can remove one arm at a time. Bringing your arms out to the right and the left in a T position. Palms up. And then bending your knees, sliding your feet together till your feet, soles of your feet are touching. Knees out east and west. Finding reclined Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle. Check in with your knees here. Make sure you're not feeling any pain or pinching there. You've got a block you can put under your knees if you want. Knowing that if you push your feet further away from your body, that relieves some of the sensation. Closer to the body increases the sensation. Your arms are out wide, so your heart and chest are wide open. Nice heart opening posture at the same time. So giving a nice little stretch to the spine with our cinnamon roll. Stay here for another 2 minutes and just notice if there's anywhere you can soften and find ease in the posture. You begin to notice your shoulders are tugging, you feel any tugging in your shoulders, bring your arms a little closer to your body until that tugging sensation goes away. If at any point you start to feel too much sensation or tugging in your knees, you can stretch your legs long. Bring your knees up and your soles together. Another nice posture is to bring your feet as wide as the mat and let your knees knock together for a constructive rest. Don't sit in a posture that's causing you too much discomfort or certainly not pain. ready, bring your feet as wide as your mat. And just windshield wiper the knees from right to left. Moving slowly and smoothly as if they're moving through water. We're not going fast here. Coming back to center. Just pausing in the center and dropping both knees to the right. Allow both knees to drop to the right. Feeling an opening in the side body. Taking a couple breaths here. When you're ready, bringing the knees back up through center. On an inhale and an exhale, dropping them to the left. Inhaling the knees back to center. Placing our hands by our hips and using them to help us push ourselves up to a seated position. Coming up off of our cinnamon roll. Bring your blankie, sound like you're, bring your blankie and your block, and let's come into a staff pose. Rooting through those sit bones, legs long in front of us. We're gonna go into caterpillar. So we're gonna use your blanket. You might use you're probably gonna want to use your block too. What we're going to end up doing is folding over and allowing our head to rest. So you need to make whatever height that you need to make, whether it's a block here, and then use your blanket on top of it as cushion. You might even unfold your blanket and fold it in another direction. But play with that for a minute before we go into it and see what works for you. Because we're going to fold over and allow our head to rest, so you might have to move your blocks and blankets to find that position that you can maintain for 3 minutes. So don't go to your edge. Go a little less than your edge. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale and press and get tall in the spine first, always making space in the body first. And then exhale, fold the body over and allow our head to rest on our blanket and blocks. Knowing you can make whatever last minute adjustments you need to make that work for you. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can stack up if you need another block. Just stick your hand up and I'll bring you one. And then find some ease in the posture. Blanket or whatever position works best for you that feels the most comfortable. As we open up the low back and the backs of the hips, the outer hips and the thighs here. And relaxing the shoulders, finding space in the upper back. Allow your head to be heavy. If you find that it feels a little claustrophobic having your head straight down in the blanket, you can turn to rest on one cheek or the other. I'll remind you after 1 minute to change cheeks. Less than 2 minutes left in the posture. If you're resting on a cheek, take the time to gently roll over to the opposite cheek. You imagine that your arms are so heavy that they're sinking down away from your shoulders. And Not to lock out the knees though. Keep a little bit of softness in the knees. Have another 45 seconds here. Make the most of the breath, the most of your time. Take a big breath in and feel as if you're expanding the chest, the stomach, the back. Exhale, place your hands on the mat beside you and slowly and gently roll up one vertebrae at a time. Your shoulders the last to reach, bringing the chin up. Setting your props off to the side. Making your way, excuse me, to a tabletop position. Pressing through to downward dog when you're ready. Transitioning from downward dog to walk yourself up to a forward fold. Inhale, press through the feet, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center, and release to our Tadasana. Move into the Yang portion, the Vinyasa portion of the class. Get the body moving a little bit. It's always good to do yin on cold muscles, because if you do them after you've worked out, then it transfers to the muscles instead of those ligaments and joint systems. So you always want to practice yin when you're cool, your body's cool. So let's inhale. We'll do a couple rounds of sun salutation now. Get the body moving. Inhale, let's rise up. Exhale, fold at the waist, bringing your hand, dropping the head. Inhale, hands to shin, flat back, halfway. Exhale, fold and plant the hands and step back to plank pose or tabletop if plank doesn't work for you. Inhale, chaturanga, or drop the knees, chin and chest. Inhale up to cobra or up dog to lift the knees. Untuck the toes and exhale to down dog. Finding length in the spine is pressing the heels back. Take a breath here and an exhale. Full inhale, full exhale. And then walk, step, or hop up to the front of your mat. And fold. Inhale, come to the flat back. Pull the belly button in, exhale, fold. Press through the feet, inhale all the way up. Maybe a slight back bend this time. And exhale, release to your Tadasana. Find your tuck, tighten, and tall. Pull that belly button in. We'll do one more round. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, we'll fold. Inhale to the flat back. Pull the belly button to spine. Exhale, plant the hands and come back to plank or tabletop. Chaturanga, or drop to the belly, knees and chin and chest. Untuck the toes. Coming to cobra, or lifting the knees for down dog. Tuck the toes, down dog. Up dog, down dog. And then walk or hop to the front. Fold. Allow the head to be heavy. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, press down, rise all the way up. And exhale, release to mountain pose. Great job, everybody. We're gonna do, I always like to do a balance pose in every class. So, I'm gonna let you guys choose. You wanna do dancer, warrior three, or tree? Who wants to do dancer? Nobody. Who wants to do warrior three? Nobody. We're doing tree. Tree it is. If you are on a heavy mat and you want to step off, sometimes these cushiony mats are hard to balance on, please feel free to come off. Find your Tadasana. Find that tuck, tight, and tall. Lengthen the spine. Softness in the knees, though. Roll the shoulders up and back first. Find that place to focus on with the belly button pulled in. We get our balance from our core. Pick a leaf or a twig. Focus on it. Get tall in the spine. Shift your weight to your left foot. And then you bring your heel to the right above the ankle here. Perfectly beautiful tree. You can stay here. You can bring the foot to the calf or the thigh. Pressing the foot into the leg, though, and the leg into the foot. That isometric movement gives you balance. You can bring your hands to heart center, or you can grow the branches of your tree. Knowing it's okay if you wobble like the branches of a tree like I'm doing. That's your body trying to stabilize. That is strengthening your joints. That is increasing your balance. That is okay. It's okay to come in and out as many times as you want. But knowing that you're pressing, though, that isometric movement gives you better balance as you lengthen through the spine. And when you're ready, release slowly, not like I did. Drop out of it. Great job. Shake the legs and hands. Yeah, the more you press that foot into your leg and the leg into your foot, and the more you get the length, the more balance you're going to feel. So let's get that tuck tight and tall. Breathe in. Find that focus point. That's really important. Something that's stationary, not something that's moving. Softness in the knees. Lengthen the spine. Belly button pulled in. Tail pointing down. Shift your weight to your right foot. Start with your little kickstand. And then just see where you want to grow your tree on this side. Remembering that pressure. It's hard to do with my pants, it's slippery. And knowing that one side you're going to have better balance than the other. You can bring your hands to heart center, you can grow them, you can try goal pose for your arms. Try to pull the knee out a little bit with the hips forward, but not forcing it. Find your balance. Find that dristy gaze, that soft gaze as it helps you balance. Pull that belly button in. Feel that length in the spine as the crown pulls to this beautiful sky. When you're ready, release. Go down to Tadasana. Great job, everybody. Where are we in time? Okay, let's come down to the mat. Just make your way down, however you want to make your way down. Before we move into Shavasana, we'll do just a little quick cool down of a few poses. You can come to a cross-legged seat if that works for you. Just make sure that you're not feeling tugging in your knees. If you are, you can put blocks under them. The other thing to do is put that blanket, roll that you have that rolled blanket. Sit on the very front edge of it, not the whole one, just so your pelvis tilts forward. See how much more accessible that makes it? Just that little bit of a tilt. So sometimes if you don't think it's working for you, a blanket will really help with that. Breathe in, like I said, or you can sit on a block, whatever seated position you want. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you want to do. Breathe in. Let's bring our hands out to the side, pull the belly button in. Bending through the left hand, bring the right hand up and over, finding some opening in the right side of the body. Inhale, exhale, we'll go to the other side. Let's do a couple rounds of that following your breath. Feel that opening in the ribs. Finish the round you're on. We'll meet back in the center. Bringing those shoulders up to the ears, squeeze them, and then just drop them. Let's do that again. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Even squeeze your fists and drop them. And then do just some little rolls. One direction. Follow the breath, bringing the breath with you, reversing the circles. I get really into it. My whole arms go into it. And release. In whatever position you're in, put your hands, and just some organic movements with the back, some nice twists and circles. Pull the belly in, changing directions. You get those shoulders in there. Yeah, really drop those shoulders. Feel that movement. Doesn't that feel amazing? I love doing this. When you're ready, come back to a seat, back to center. Take a breath in. Place the left hand beside your left hip, tended fingers or fist. Pressing through that hand, inhale the right arm up and bring it to the opposite knee. Get tall, inhale, and then exhale, begin to twist, taking your gaze over your left shoulder here. Thinking extension in the spine first. Breathing carefully and gently. Twists are really good for digestion, really good for movement in the spine. Inhale. Now take your gaze on the exhale over your right shoulder, but keeping the twist. Breath in. Exhale, release the twist. Take a breath. Right hand plants behind the hip. Get tall first on the exhale. Right hand comes up. Bring it over to the opposite knee. Take a breath and get tall in the spine, and then exhale, begin to find your twist on this side. Gaze moving over right shoulder. Not torquing the body, a nice, gentle, smooth twist. Inhales, we get tall, and exhales, we find a little more depth in the twist. and release back to center. Grabbing your blanket, box, whatever you need. We're gonna make our way down to our back for our final posture, Shavasana. You can take the blanket, your towel, and lay it over your body. You can lay it under your head. I sometimes even like to lay it on my body. I like to hood my head a little bit, so it's a little dark. But whatever feels good. Sometimes it's good to put that roll under your knees to release your low back. Sometimes that's a nice position. But you find your way to whatever position works best for you. Releasing all the way to the mat. What you find there, sinking your shoulders, allowing your head to rest. Now lift your right shoulder up and tuck it up so your shoulder blade tucks up and underneath you, down your spine. Lift your left shoulder up and tuck the shoulder blade underneath so that it slides down your back. Lift the right leg up off the ground just an inch or two and stretch through that heel, finding length, and then let the foot sit back down. Let's do that with the left and find length and then find ease. Now let's flex the toes, engage those quad muscles, squeeze the muscles all through the back body, squeeze the fists, and finally squeeze the face. Take a big inhale, and then the exhale, release everything, let it all go. Relax and find your Shavasana. No longer controlling anything, your breath is easeful, your mind, find some stillness. Just allowing all the work we did to sink into your body and find some rest. As I play this ancient Tibetan singing bowl, just notice how it feels in your body to hear the sounds of the bowl. Let go of everything now. Let your breath come and go. Let your breath come and go. Begin to bring some awareness to your surroundings. Notice if you can hear the sounds of the birds. Notice if you can hear the sound of the boat as it goes down the river. Now notice your breath. And we begin to deepen that breath like we did at the beginning of class. Big inhales, long fluid exhales. Maybe start to find some movement in the body, some gentle wiggles in the toes and the fingers. Maybe a gentle rock of the head from side to side. Notice how your body feels after your practice. Is it lighter? Is there more energy? Do you feel more grounded? Inhale if you'd like and stretch the body long. That feels good to you. Exhale and bring the knees to the chest and give ourselves a hug of gratitude for showing up on your mat, doing something really good for yourself. And whenever you find that you're ready, make your way over to one side or the other. Pausing here to just acknowledge your practice. And taking your time when you're ready to press yourself up to a seated position. Moving slowly, not rushing. Hands on our knees, palms up. Big inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale. Open the mouth and let every last bit of tension go. Every last bit you were holding on to. Let's bring our hands to heart center, resting our thumbs on our sternum. Thanking ourselves for showing up. Thank you for joining me on the mat today. Thank you for coming to class and sharing your practice with me. It means so much to me. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. I've been so enjoying these outdoor classes. You guys have just been wonderful.
Yeah. How long are you doing it?
I'm gonna, whenever we have nice weather, I want to keep it up.
Saturday was available.
This Saturday I'm going to be out of town, so I can't do it this Saturday.
Maybe last Saturday it was raining.
Yeah. Well, I got back really late. I was gone. I got back really late, and I didn't know I was going to be home that late. And then it said it was going to rain, and I hadn't had anything prepared. I thought, well, I'm just going to cancel. It's going to rain anyways, and then it didn't. Every time I think it's going to rain, it didn't. So this Saturday I won't be here. This Saturday. Next week we're going to play it by ear. Just check the weather. Check my page. You guys have all liked my page. I think Authentic Living Yoga on Instagram and Facebook. I'll post it on there. I'm going to try next Saturday. I don't know about next week. I've got maybe next Thursday, but we just have to wait and see what the weather. But I'll post it. So,
One night next week.
I'm going to try to do, I'm out of town from Friday to Wednesday. I'm going to try to do Thursday night when we get back if it's good weather. Maybe kind of like shoot from the hip class because I don't know if I'll have anything prepared, and that'll be fine. We'll just do what everybody needs. And then next Saturday. So yeah, we'll try that, but I'll post it. I'll keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on my page. And also, anytime you guys want to practice, and you know, you always can throw your own mat down and do whatever you want, but I have a lot of videos saved on my Facebook page. Yeah, just pull up whatever you need. There's ones for insomnia, there's ones for necks and shoulders, there's vinyasa flows, there's, you know, there are a lot of them, and most of them are labeled. Just throw it down. All of the money that we did in September, I mentioned at the beginning of class, and these last couple of October, I'm giving it to Scioto Gives tomorrow, so that will be some matching funds. Before tonight, we already had over $350. So, and whatever we give, I'm going to round it up to 500 if it doesn't meet 500. So they're going to match that. So I'm just so thankful for you guys for doing that. So, and if you guys have another charity you're interested, Scioto Gives tomorrow is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and they're going to match. So there's a whole list of charities on there. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I don't know what we're gonna do when we can't do this anymore. I'm loving it. Yes.